Yo, what up, what up, what up? Welcome back to the solar system series known as Crawl Space Situations, where we talk about the spark that started it all, which is, for most of you Aries signs. But if you're watching this series, you know that we're not directly talking about the Aries sign itself. We're talking about its, Sun and Libra's conjunction signs, which would be Earth in Aries. So, let's break down a little bit. Earth and Aries, Earth and Aries, Earth and Aries. So, let's talk about Earth a little bit, right? Earth is the planet of, scheduling, nurturing, birth, slowly maturing, and I like to basically explain it as throwing a seed on some fertile soil, you know what I'm saying? Because if you look at that, you can get a direct result in an Earth way of how the Earth energies basically work, Because if you plant a seed in the ground, what do you got to do? You have to nurture that seed. You have to grow that seed. You have to make sure you care for it, because when it's young, it's still it's still fickle. If you don't take care of it, it won't go anywhere. It needs to have its own roots in the ground. It needs to be above the soil before you can even tell anybody about it. And you need to just let it grow and make sure it's strong, because if it has a rough upbringing, it may have a step back with the because it won't necessarily have the tools that it needs to take care of itself. You know what I'm saying? This is why you need to nurture it, care for it, and make sure that shit grows on a steady, structured schedule so that it can, understand, have its own abilities to work for itself. You know what I'm saying? So with this being placed in Aries, this is the most strongest Earth sign you could have, which is why, you Sun and Libra people may be a little fickle when it comes to relating to people and feel like you need to relate to people all the time, because you always have this internal drive of, I have to be first, I have to be the best relationship, I have to create balance, you know what I'm saying? And that's not very stable for creating things for yourself, which is why you have this Earth and Aries placements to counteract that and make sure that you stay on track with your own situations. Because, you'll obviously misconstrue it a little bit and, just kind of take this, that, jittery feeling of you need to do something or you need to go out and relate to people as, you'll kind of take it, you may take it the wrong way at first. You may take it as, just feeling the need to just, like I said, go relate to people, go do things for other people, go maintain balance outside of yourself. You know what I'm saying? And this is why you have the most selfish sign that there is, trying to get you to, because it's all the time, it's you feeling this emotion. It's always you feeling you have to do that. And this is why you sort of misconstrue that feeling and sort of, put those energies in the wrong direction, which is a sort of a manifestation for Aries not doing too well in Earth. You feel what I'm saying? And this, you gotta remember, the Sun doesn't do too well in freaking Libra either, so it's just they're kind of looking at each other like, come on, man, can't we swap roles for a second? This would be the most, I'm trying to think of a movie. It would be the most, whatchamacallit, trading places situations you wish you could have, but it's playing out on an astrological level. But anyways, I'm getting into the traits a little too early. Let's talk about, we talked about Earth, so let's talk about Aries, right? Aries is the planet of Cardinal fire, initiating, creating new ways of how to feel, and basically of how to feel and see things, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, Aries is exalted in the Sun. It is at home in Mars. It is away in Venus. That's the part where it's just you don't really give a fuck about nobody, and you're just like, man, I'm doing me because I want to do me. I'm expressing and I'm acting. The fuck you think I'm going to do? Spend time on you? How the hell am I going to do my idea if I'm spending time on you? And then, they'll realize that they may need some people as time goes on, and they'll be like, oh, shit, I should have been nice to this person, you know what I'm saying? Which is why, they are away in Venus, because they can do it, they just don't necessarily like to, because they're very competitive people, and they just, feel like they always have to be first, since they were technically the first zodiac sign, You gotta think about these things, it's obvious, but it's not, it's just, this comes from a place of thinking for yourself, but, that's a whole nother topic for you, Libra, especially Libra Sun people, you know what I'm saying? You can do it, but you always want to relate to people and work on that structure system, which leads us back to what Aries falls in, which is basically it falls in Saturn, you know what I'm saying? So of course they're always going to forget the natural structure systems of what's going on, which is why it doesn't do too well in Earth, and you can never exactly plant your own seeds and grow them to full maturity all the time, because the sign here lacks the structure system of it, you know what I'm saying? So it's always going to be other than the Earth energy, Saturn is the strongest energy in the solar system, so having Earth falling in air, having your Earth sign sort of, I don't want to directly say it's in a fallen state with Aries, but it's not doing too well here, you know what I'm saying? So this is where you guys always like forego your own like ideas, thoughts, and concepts, and your own manifestations that actually stick with you, because you're always sort of just looking to what's outside of you. And this is why you may like, even though you want to relate to people, you sort of feel like it's a bad idea, because it's just like you sort of look at people as just like aggressive, not as caring towards others, and you feel like you always have to be the balance scales to actually make sure you bring this piece to the situation, which is why you sort of separate yourself from being like, you sort of separate yourself out when you want to relate to people sometimes, even though you may not at that point, because you feel that like, you're the scales, you're the one that's balancing, you're the one that feels like you have to make sure everybody's kosher, when in reality, it's sort of just like, like, I don't really want to. I got shit I could be doing, but you don't necessarily think like that, because, the paramount energy of the situation is just like, oh, I want to relate. I want to make sure everything's kosher. I want this to happen. So to do that, you sort of need to forego your own individuality, which is why you have this placement to begin with. Like I said in the beginning, it's just misplaced energies to where you just feel to where, because, Earth is in a fallen state. So of course your your own thoughts, concepts, ideas, and what you actually want to manifest in your life, because I always describe Earth as a bus stop to your manifestation, since it's the energetic version of your own Earth in your own body. However, like you can't miss, like, it ain't doing too hot here, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatchamacallit, what's Earth? Exalted. No, it's not exalted in Libra, it's exalted in Taurus. But yeah, no, sorry my mumblings and jumblings, but you know how it goes. You gotta sometimes you gotta think on the fly and make sure this shit fine, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, nonetheless, like, Earth and Aries people, they will, like I said, you can get your manifestations done, because Earth is sort of like Venus's sister in a way, which is why it's like at work here. It's like its little sister in some sense, because it's kind of like it wants to like do all this shit that Venus is already doing, except it's just kind of like, it's still working on it. It still needs to get its sprouts going. It still needs to get its own structure system going on. It still needs to do like this, that, and the third to become, its own like authoritative figure. It's still like, the little baby that's like working on harboring life. You feel what I'm saying in that type of way? Which is why I sort of derived it as not doing too well in Aries, because it's always focused on just like, the slow growth of it. And Aries just isn't that. It's literally the seed. So this is why Earth and Aries people, aka Sun and Libra people, will always have lots of seeds popping in their head, but it's all about doing what they can do outside of them, because actually working on themselves and focusing on themselves and relating what they want to themselves is work. So it's just going, this is why it doesn't exactly make sense being here, and you'll always, like I said, not to beat a dead horse too much, but you'll always be focused on the outside people, and you can't necessarily focus on yourself, even though all the seeds you end up manifesting yourself point back to you being like, oh, I'm so tired of helping these people. Oh, but I want to help them. Hey, what's going on, best friend? You know what I'm saying? Why you always sort of like, like this, I don't want to say it's like taking the Gemini aspect of the air quality, but where you're always like bouncing around in your mind of, oh, I need to do this for this person. Oh, I need to do this for this person. And then you always end up in the situation of feeling drained at the end of the day if you're not necessarily doing this with people you want to be doing something with, which is sort of the working around and bridge between the gaps, to where if you're working together with people on things that you both want to be doing, it'll work out great. You feel what I'm saying? But if you don't necessarily do this, this is where the Earth and Aries things will slap you back into place of being like, oh, okay, like... like, it'll just be like, oh, I can't fucking do it anymore. Why do I have to always feel like I gotta help these people? You know what I'm saying? You'll just be slumped like that. And if you don't realize it, this is the Aries, like, Earth energy, like, slapping you into focusing on yourself for once. Why do you think you feel tired? Why do you think you're always, like, stuck in these situations of relating to people, and you define it as yourself as being stuck in that situation, You're bashing your ram-ass head into the wall, and it's the shit situations that you're manifesting are bashing right back, trying to slap you down and be like, hey, man, chill. Focus on yourself for once. Stop trying to be the balancings in the, like, the voice of justice for everybody, and trying to be, like a freaking, like, broker in deals for everybody so everybody can get along, The world just isn't like that, and you're just going to tire yourself out if you keep doing that, We're in, like, a shitty situation, not to get too far deep in the energies that we got going on right now, but we're in a shitty situation. And, they just kind of, sometimes you just got to let them work itself out, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, yeah, that's just a little gist on Earth and Aries right here. If you wanna do this for yourself, let's run back over the alignments. So, what is Earth? Earth is basically, it's like throw the seed on the ground and imagine and like watch the actual seed grow and think about the whole process of it going. You gotta get some light, you gotta schedule your times, you gotta water it every day, you gotta make sure you care, you gotta feel the love in the plant. Don't want to tell anybody until the sprout's happening because it might still die between ground and sprout time. That's pretty much it. The same thing with your own like seeds that you want to manifest, which is basically your thought concepts that you really enjoy or they resonate with you some way. So those like ideas basically get planted in your own earth chakra, which is in this area of the body right here. And it's basically where you actually hold on to something that you want to manifest for the future, and it's always based off your desires. It's not whether you want it or need it. It's based off what you desire. So if you are in a shitty situation, you feel like, oh, this bad thing's going to happen to me, like this, that, and the third. You will attract that bad situation into your life, which is for Earth and Aries people, is basically getting stuck, helping, be like, the scales of justice, trying to make sure everybody's cool and not tipping it too much. When in reality, you have to let go of that sometimes and not be the scale and be your own scale and make sure that you're good. You know what I'm saying? So basically, that's the Earth energy. You just, make sure, pay attention to the seeds you're planting. You have the Aries energy. So it's going to be, you're going to have it being exalted in the sun. It's at home in Mars. It's away in Venus. And then it falls in Saturn. So it's not going to be doing too well with structure and just like feeling like you need to relate people. You're always going to be like, oh yeah, I mean, I guess I got to do all this, rework to get everybody back on my team if I want to build a team around my vision. You know what I'm saying? Because Aries just has that lone wolf energy, so you always end up like either foregoing yourself or foregoing others, and that's just how it's going to feel. You'll think other people are very aggressive, and that's just what's going on, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, thanks for watching our solar system series of the spark that started it all, where we're down in the basement, the crawl space, talking about these Aries situations. But in this case, it's for you Sun and Libra folk, because there's that opposite placement going on of when the Sun's here, Earth is here. So watch out for your opposing placements. Anyways, thanks for following the solar system series. Peace.